Mugen. Ah, what an amazing fighting game engine. While obviously having flawed characters and other random garbage you won't really want to get, Mugen is basically the pure definition of a fighting game engine. With its release in July 1999, many creators will begin creating and releasing their own content, which are characters accurate to their source material, original characters, and other stuff, including stages, patches, and many more. Now, many people tend to have some history with Mugen when they first discovered it and when it was their first ever released character or stage, and even when they first played Mugen. I have some good chunk to say about my history with Mugen, when I first discovered it, when I first played it, and when I released my first creation. Today, I wanna tell you my history with Mugen, what happened during these times, and the times when I had to take a break from it and return as usual. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more content from me. Alright, let's get this thing started. My history with Mugen dates back to 2011 or 2012. I was a very young child who was learning how to use a computer. When I was browsing through random stuff, I came across a video which involved SpongeBob fighting against Mario. I decided to watch it, and at first I simply treated it as a simple video. But later, I noticed more Mugen videos appearing in my eyes, and I checked out several of them. This alone was enough to gain me an interest in Mugen. Said video that made me discover Mugen was uploaded by Anders in Kenya1, who does Mugen content to this day, and he even made a long-running survival series involving Clay Miller's first Sonic and Shin Samus and Neo and Mario, and I absolutely like watching this series, and I still sometimes do it to this day, even if sometimes Sonic's OP hypers get abused. In the earlier days, I only watched Mugen videos because I did not know that Mugen is not a browser game, as browser games, mostly Flash ones, are the ones I grew up when I was a kid. However, in 2017, I finally managed to download Mugen and a few characters, as well as stages, albeit a bit later for the latter. Now, I didn't really know how to perform many characters' specials and hypers, but as the time progressed, I learned how to use them. During 2017, this was also the time when I asked someone to make a character out of me, which was nothing but an effortless polished swap of SM853 set of Shin Samus and Neo and Mario with barely any differences. Sometime later, I tried to quote-unquote update it to give it more differences, such as new palettes, victory quotes and other stuff, but this palette swap aged like garbage with victory quotes that made literally no sense at all. In fact, this aged so badly that I am extremely ashamed of myself for making this decision. To this day, I really hope all download links for it will be completely removed in order to make it a lost character. During my first days, there were times where I had to take breaks from Mugen before returning to it. One occurred in late 2017 when my PC stopped working. In October 2018, I finally re-downloaded Mugen on an older laptop of mine and I've continued to play it there. In April 2021, due to certain issues, I had to take another break and delete my roster before re-downloading Mugen in July. Since then, I have not taken any breaks from Mugen at all. I was heavily impressed by many people's works, with their sprite install and their gameplay being awesome, or maybe just one of them. I especially had a lot of fun with characters like Clay Miller's second Sonic, SM853 set of Shin Samus Mario, or even Iron Commando's Dancing Banana. Eventually, it got to the point where I wanted to make my own Mugen character. I decided I'd start with Minion Pig. Why this character exactly? Well, back when I was a kid, I really enjoyed the Angry Birds franchise. Angry Birds Epic, along with the franchise spin-off, Bad Piggies, were always my favorites. And because there was one version which was overpowered and blindly praised by many people despite it being flawed in many different ways. It is Minion Pig M, which features severe lack of balanced, poorly ripped sprites along with a very spammy AI. I thought we needed something more fresh, and since nobody decided to make a more balanced Minion Pig, I decided to give it a shot, with work starting on April 17, 2022. I made custom sprites for it myself, though coding was a little tricky at first because I was new at this. Eventually, after designing its moveset, I released it on July 26, 2022 and gave it a small update on August 11 to fix some disappearing issues. Even though it didn't prove to be that popular than I thought, I was still glad I tried something new. Eventually, Twinies1998 uploaded it on Mugen archive, which allowed several more people to download it. When Minion Pig was finished, I wanted to work on editing characters. This applied to Shadow's characters, more specifically his Mario, Luigi, Sonic, and Bowser. I wanted to make them better and more balanced and fix many flaws they had. When I lost interest on Shadow's Bowser and I started to no longer like him due to him being a full sprite swap of Actors, CVS, Axel Stone, I ended up scrapping the edit of him and I continued working on the edits of Mario, Luigi, and Sonic. Sonic's edit was put on a small hold and I ended up releasing the edits for Mario and Luigi on September 24th. Also, when Minion Pig was released, my second character was gonna be Lucas. However, I thought he would be too difficult for me to make, so I scrapped him early in development. I'm not sure if I might make him in the future though. Thanks to Minion Pig being received positively, although looking at it is a little mediocre now, I wanted to make an update to make it better and give it new stuff while improving some. Along with that, I have released the edits for Claymizer's Blaziken and Golate to make them more balanced and improved. During August, I began work on my next character, the Space Mouse from Choo Choo Rocket's manual, Chewie. His moveset was a little more limited to make because trying to come up with ideas for his moveset was quite tough thanks to the fact that he didn't appear in a fighting game, and I was still new at creating Mugen content. But eventually, on November 12, 2022, Chewie was released, marking him my second character to be released for Mugen. Then, I instantly wanted to make a third character, Demille. This was obviously due to how much I loved Tomato Adventure when I first played it for the first time, and I still love this game to this day. Once again, custom sprites for him were made and I started work on him in November. However, things were put on a hold in December when I thought I could make a new Giga Bowser that could be of better quality than Shadows. So, I decided to put Demille on a hold and start working on Giga Bowser. I wanted to make custom sprite for him like always, but the issue was that I wasn't really good at spriting and Giga Bowser proved to be too difficult to sprite. I decided to search for alternative methods and I found a sprite sheet containing recurrent Bowser sprites. I asked the owner for permission and I got it, and on December 4th I started work on Giga Bowser. He was much easier for me to work on as he originated from a fighting game being Melee, and on December 28th Giga Bowser was released with 2 updates to fix some errors. Then, I wanted to continue working on Demille, but I started to lose interest in making him. And I decided to put him on a longer hold and I decided to start working on Blower. His moveset was easy to come up with, but was a limited one. Along with that, I decided to finally continue working on my Super Mugen Brother Sonic edit. This was also the time when I fully lost interest on making Demille, scrapping him as a result. Just several days before Blower and Sonic's release, on January 18th, a match was uploaded with a different edit of Shadow's Mario fighting my own edit, being done by YochiTH Master 333. I was actually surprised that he fought my edit, but I considered it a simple match and a smile came on my face, being actually glad that someone fought a character of mine. 3 days later, however, he also released a Luigi edit, but this was also the very first time I have ever received feedback on something I made for Mugen, being an edit. The issue here is that my Luigi could stand in midair if he was hit during Super Jump Punch because the state type was set to standing. Eventually, after he uploaded it, I posted this comment, fixed the issue, and released an update for my Luigi. Eventually, on January 28, 2023, Blower and Sonic were released. Sonic will be followed by Shadow's Model Sonic edit on February 16th and Lamisa's Register edit on March 12th, while Blower was followed by Yumetaro on February 21st and Bluebird on April 2nd. Also, on the same date I released my Model Sonic edit, I released my first stage, Melee Battlefield, and on June 17th, Final Destination 64 was released. But, in my 6th character, I made a mistake. A rather huge mistake. Tsurugi was my 6th character because of it being my favorite Pokemon and how much I like Pokemon forever. Get it? It means forever. Once again, custom sprites and typical blah blah, and I released it on June 20th. The mistake was not noticed by many. On July 8th, Project All-G, who makes random Mugen balloons, showcased my Celebi and gave me feedback on it, mainly for balance, such as making physics easier to block and by making it also blockable when standing, and making recovery use 3 power bars instead of 1, though I also fixed some other stuff. August 4th arrived with the release of, so far, the only character I made that isn't from a video game, being Fiery from BFDI. 4 days later, however, the mistake in Celebi was noticed. Yoshi uploaded this video saying how inaccurately I made the sprites for it. I decided to not keep my mouth shut and I posted this comment and he responded, saying that he isn't that great at bringing it in without using an image as a base, but said I did a good job on blurred sprites. Also, same inaccurate sprites apply to M.U.G.E.N, M.U.G.E.N, and Yumetaro. During August, I couldn't stop thinking about the inaccurate sprites I made for M.U.G.E.N, M.U.G.E.N, Yumetaro and Celebi, and I wanted to overhaul them, with improved results that were truly accurate. On September 2nd, I decided to showcase an early stage for Celebi's sprite overhaul which looked kinda ugly. So I eventually took my sweet time deciding to come up with potential sprite overhauls for M.U.G.E.N, M.U.G.E.N, Yumetaro and Celebi. I decided to overhaul M.U.G.E.N sprites by editing them to look more accurate. September 22nd, 2023 was the release of Clockwork Zone, one of my better stages. During that time, I was also working on Vortigon from Chaos Faction because of how much I loved Chaos Faction as a kid, especially Chaos Faction 2. His release was on October 29th, 2023, but 5 days later, I decided to share him on Mugen Fighters Guild, thinking if I could get feedback more easily. Unsurprisingly, I did. NN and Sergio P gave me feedback on Vortigon and I updated him eventually. On November 12th, I also showcased different sprites for Celebi with a more accurate look, with more progress being showcased on December 3rd, which also showcased M.U.G.E.N sprite overhaul. December 10th was the time I released an edit of Shadow's Boo. Finally, December 15th, 2023 arrived and M.U.G.E.N, M.U.G.E.N, Yumetaro and Celebi sprites were finally overhauled with improved results that were more accurate. During that time, I also suddenly wanted to make the character I scrapped in January 2023, being D.M.U.G.E.N. This time, I did not scrap him, and to celebrate the start of 2024, I released D.M.U.G.E.N. Strangely, it took me longer to wait for feedback. But during that time, I made another character, Marx, with him being released on January 21st. A week later, after D.M.U.G.E.N.'s 1.1 update, a very well-known Mugen content creator, POTS, posted feedback on D.M.U.G.E.N, which was followed by NN. Eventually, I started updating Vortigon, D.M.U.G.E.N, and Marx, and released their updates together. March 1st was the time I released a version 2 of one of my existing characters, M.U.G.E.N. Due to thinking that version 1 is a little updated for my standards as its specials felt like normals for the most part. Version 2 also included a config file that ended up giving it that advantage over M.U.G.E.N by making its projectile go through it, which was implemented for my M.U.G.E.N v2 due to M.U.G.E.N's projectile being overpowered and spammy. Around that time, I also started working on a self-insert because I was inspired by many self-inserts along with some original characters, with the self-insert examples being DS12 and the original characters being Dinon's DB Cow for example. On April 5th, I eventually released Deluxe, with an update 2 days later to eliminate some oopsies I did. May 3rd was the release of my edit of Claymizer's first Sonic, due to the fact I wanted to make him more balanced as he was a classic, but was overpowered. A stage was also released, being Proto Flying Battery Zone. June 23rd was a quadruple release intended to celebrate my birthday. The release was Kaizo, my Kirby OC, balanced budgets for Claymizer's second Sonic and Meta Knight, and Proto Launch Base Zone Act 1 as a stage. July 1st was the double release of Proto Lava Reef Zone Act 1 and 2, along with an edit of Neo Sonic on July 3rd. During that time, Yumetaro was also gaining a V2 as I started to consider V1 to be a mediocre character for my standards due to very poor range, rather subpar combo ability, and slow projectiles on startup. I wanted not to repeat the same mistakes for V2, and on July 11th, I eventually released Overhauls V2, being my latest character for now. With the redesign for my persona, I've also announced I'll be adding new things to my characters, namely EX specials, hyper backgrounds, and a polish selector. This will however result in the removal of polit modes due to some issues with the polit selector. Also, since my persona has been redesigned, it will also be getting Mugenized. Now, this pretty much concludes my history with Mugen. Currently, I'm working on Nickelunario, an original character based on Super Mario Bros. Z. This is a collab between me and Nickelodeon. And I would want to thank everyone who has been supporting me ever since I began releasing content for Mugen, those who gave me feedback on my characters, as well as Byte themselves for creating such a wonderful fighting game engine. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time!